I'm going to do a Pyraminx walkthrough. I'm going to use an old method, black one, because of the light. That's why I'm using that and not some fancy speed cube puzzle or a speed Pyraminx or something like that. So I wrote down 3 scrambles and I'm just going to show you the inspection, what I will be seeing in the inspection, and try to explain it as clearly to you as possible, so you might get some thing to think of. So let's go ahead for the first scramble. Here, L prime U R prime L B prime U prime L prime R prime. So from the view I can see this edge here is already solved, so that might give me an easier inspection for this tops to start with. I haven't written down the tips for each scramble because the tips are so trivial that I don't want to tell you how to solve it. I mean, it's too easy. And I already told you guys in my previous video that I solved them in the end of the solve. So I have this top here, I have this edge piece solved, then I have this edge piece that needs to go here. This edge piece is oriented in a way so I can either solve it with a B turn or with LR, because if I insert it directly with L, it's going to be flipped, so this can be solved with LR or B. The other edge piece over here needs to go over here, and for that piece too it needs to be solved with RL or B, because if I insert it with an R move, when I say an R move I mean R prime, but it's the R axis. So if I'm going to insert it just with R prime or with the R axis, it's going to be flipped. That's why I know that I'm going to solve it with RL or B. So the other thing I notice is the centers. The center back here is already solved, so I might find a way to solve these 2 edge pieces which only affects these 2 centers, which means I'm going to use RL only to solve this top, because I already know that I can solve it just with RL, because this edge piece and this edge piece both only need R and L moves to be solved. So let's now take a closer look. This edge piece can be solved with L prime R. Before you do that, you have to think of how is the center is going to be affected. When you're going to do that, this edge piece is going to flip over here, and this edge piece is going to flip over here, and this edge piece is going in front. So I'm going to actually start with this piece over here, because when I solve this edge piece, I have the other edge piece here ready for insertion on the left side, and they only have the left center to be solved. So that's the thing I think about. If I had done it the other way, I would end up with 2 flipped centers like that, and I don't want to have that case. So when you do it, you have to think, how can I do this and solve the centers at the same time? So that's the first solve, and lastly let's just perform some random algorithm. And now for the last case, I'm just going to scramble R U prime R L B U R prime B prime. So the first thing I notice is this edge piece, and I'm just going to look. Okay, so for this case I see this edge piece here is going here, and it can be solved with an L move. So the next thing I see is this edge piece over here. This edge piece needs to be solved with a B move or RL. Another thing I notice is that I can actually, if I put this piece over to the L axis, I can solve this edge piece still have this in its wrong position, the center. And then this center here, I'll be able to solve it because the edge piece I have from here will end up over here, which means this R-axis is free if you just do some U-moves. And then this edge piece, when it's here and you solve it, you'll also solve the center. So let me show you what I just said. So R to get this piece on the L-axis, and solve this piece. Now you have this edge piece over here, and you have this center here, which you can just flip because you don't have any edges over here that can be affected by an R move. So I'll just solve the center, and then I need to solve this edge piece, and as I told you, the center is going to be solved. So I'm at the last layer now, like that. So what you want to do is to try to track your centers as much as possible, because you can most of the time find some way to just move the edge pieces around, so you'll eventually just solve the centers. So if you can't do that, you're going to set it up into an easy case. So what I do is probably something you can say is 2-look. I split it up in 2 very tiny steps. So I set it up into an easy case, and then I solve the easy case. So that's how I tackle the most scrambles. If it's easy, I can just do it in like 1 step because I kind of know the case, or I can just figure it out very easily. But if it's a kind of hard scramble, I'm going to set it up into an easy case and then solve that easy case, because it's so much more fun to solve an easy case than just solving something that is not an easy. So try set up the case into an easy case if it's too hard. If it's just an easy case from the beginning, you can just go ahead, solve it. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions, comment below. If you want more of these videos, like this video, yay! If you have a hamster, feed it, because it might be hungry right now. And yeah, I think that's it. If you want me to do a new walkthrough for the Pyraminx, I have an old one. I don't even know which channel it's on, if it's this one or my old one. But if you want me to do a walkthrough, just let me know and I'll see if I can do a walkthrough for the Pyraminx. I'll try to explain as much as possible what I do. I might also explain some of my finger tricks. You see. I don't even know what I did there. I just did some moves. Yeah. As you might see, I'm using my thumb ballot for the Pyraminx. So if you want to know how I do it, just ask me to do a Pyraminx tutorial or a walkthrough or anything, and you might eventually see how I'm using my thumb to do absolutely everything on the Pyraminx.